This is just at the point where you can see it started to brown on the bottom of the pan. It's really clear liquid. That's what you want. And then once it gets to that stage, what we do is we just pour it through a strainer, and that filters out the rest of the little residue on the top there.
This is Peak Moment. We are living at a peak of human innovation, information, wealth, and health. But we're also at a peak of population and consumption, with rising temperatures and declining resources fueled by cheap oil and gas. Peak Moment Television, bringing you examples of positive responses to energy decline and climate change through local community action.
Paul, you had said that the paleo people ate their fat first. I mean, it's the most treasured part of the animal. And I feel like fat has been so maligned in this culture. It's like fat is, bad news. So I want you to give us a little introduction to what's good fat and, show us and talk about all that good stuff.
All right. Well, I would say I've lined up a lot of the fats that I use every day in my cooking and in dessert making. I use coconut oil every day, and a lot of times I mix these fats during the day, so I get all of the really good stuff. We have coconut milk that goes into some of the dessert recipes, and also some of my Thai soup recipes. This is coconut cream, which
I haven't heard of this.
It's wonderful, and you can just eat it out of the jar if you want.
Really?
That helps if you're trying to get off the carbs too. Just a little bit of this. It's naturally sweet. It's just coconut pulp. And so you can include that in some dessert recipes. It goes into the sort of Nora's nutball truffle recipe. Yeah.
Your sort of survival food?
Yes.
It's like when you get hungry? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely. Here we have sesame oil, which is a high heat oil, so you can saute in it. You cannot saute in butter because it will burn, so we're going to make some ghee while we're here. I have it in the pan.
And that's true with olive oil, is that?
Olive oil you shouldn't heat. No, it'll smoke and burn. So it is recommended you don't actually saute with olive oil.
So you just use it
as a finishing oil, on your salads and on your vegetables and things like that. But you really shouldn't heat olive oil.
Okay.
Let's see. We have wonderful butters here. We have pasture butter from grass-fed cows.
So that's going to have more of the omega-3s that you were talking about earlier?
Yes, definitely. Pastured butter is the key when you're going to the store. Strauss doesn't say pastured, it's from Marin, but it is pastured butter, European style butter, and it tastes much better. It tastes like that European kind of good tasting butter. This is Sierra Nevada butter. It's a cultured butter, which means it's been fermented a little bit. This is ghee that I've already made, and I always
tell folks what's ghee.
Ghee is clarified butter, actually, and we'll clarify some on the stove. It takes about 15 minutes, but it separates out the casein and salts, and so it just turns basically into an oil that then you can saute with. It won't burn. So the French have been doing this forever. They call it clarified butter. The Indians call it ghee. And
so what you're saying is by the time you take those other solids out, this you really can saute with.
Yeah, and I always keep a jar right by the stove. I keep all my oils right by the stove, so they're all right there, ready to go into the pan. This is almost homemade sour cream. I made it myself, and you put a little culture in there, and it sort of sits out overnight and turns into this wonderful, thick cream that then you can...
I want a spoon. I want to taste
Here we go.
Spoons. It's just...
Spoons are here that you can drop some of that onto your berries.
Okay.
It's creme fraiche.
Creme fraiche. From the French again.
Yeah. Now, is that heaven?
Oh.
Yeah.
That is good.
I'll give you some to take home.
Thank you.
Put it in your cream. Let it sit overnight, and the next day you have this.
I love it. Okay, I will. Yes, creme fraiche is It's like a mild sour cream.
A mild sour cream, but isn't that?
Oh, that is good. That's divine.
I mean, you know what? If you get a little bit hungry, just go in the refrigerator and have a
I'll say
spoonful.
Polly sent me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nice. And of course, what that says is we can also have among the fats good dairy cream.
Yes.
Organic, preferably
Yeah.
grass-fed, preferably raw
Yes.
if you can find it. Just
Raw cream, yes, and cream from grass-fed cows. So
Yeah.
there you go. Olives are really high in fat, and they're wonderful to put in different foods or just eat as a snack. So they're very satisfying as far as fat goes. We eat at least an avocado a day each. Avocados are huge, good food for us. Walnuts, any kind of nuts, but we eat a lot of organic walnuts.
Do you soak them a little in salted water? And
Yeah, you can soak them and then dry them, and then you can use them just just as
Just
a
as they are.
snacking nut or in baking or whatever.
Because my understanding is
Yeah.
that way some of the phytotoxins
Yeah.
you get soaked out.
That's right, and I explain how to do that in my book. It's real easy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now this is the only pork that we buy. It is organic, grass-fed, humanely raised pork from Chico, California, and it's one of the only organic porks that I know of in
Yeah,
the United
it's hard to
States.
find.
Yeah, it really is. So it's a little on the expensive side, but to be ethical, I really try to get pork that's humanely raised. You can go on their website. The pigs get to run around, so they're not.
It's the way they're
not kept in pens.
And actually, that is an emphasis in your book. I wanted to bring that up about
Yes.
finding foods that are not only sustainable for us, but sustainable for the earth.
Yes,
You're really strong on that.
very strong, because since we are still eating animals, I feel like we really have to be kind to them, kind to the environment. It's really important. So I really stress that in my book. The other thing about the bacon, if once you cook the bacon, is you can save the fat and cook with the fat. You know, they've been doing this forever. The French are big on pork fat. So
I will make a true confession.
you
is
can
that
have a little jar of it by the
we
stove.
eat that we eat it with the bacon. We eat the fat with the bacon. It tastes so. I mean, after you cook the bacon,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Oh,
just
yeah.
eat it all in the same meal. It's wonderful.
I roasted a spaghetti squash the other night. I had some leftover bacon fat in the pan, right on the spaghetti squash.
Because
It was delicious.
fat makes it taste wonderful. Just
Well, as a friend of mine said, fat is a vehicle of flavor. And so all the additional fats that I'm talking about in my book help all the recipes taste better. And when you're trying to get off grains and sugar, what you're looking for is taste.
yes.
So the more you can spark up the taste, then you're going to feel really satisfied, like you've eaten something special and you're not deprived. So fat does
it's giving
that.
you a lot of things. Giving you the good taste,
Yes.
right? So it's also your energy source, right? And as you said at the beginning, helping our brain and probably our joints and our heart and all kinds of things
Yes.
to work better.
Well, we were talking a few minutes ago. I'm going to be 67. I now have more energy than I did when I was in my 20s. I pretty much dragged myself through my entire life until I started the paleo diet, and all of a sudden, whoa! That's what feeling alive feels like. I feel great now.
Yes,
It's incredible.
That's amazing, and a wonderful story that you don't have. I mean, you'd want this for children. You'd want this for infants to be eating
yes.
this way,
Yes.
but it's not too late.
It's not too late. But don't wait. I mean, if you're watching this, don't wait until you're in your 60s like
Paul,
me.
you're saying
Start now.
Don't wait, do it.
Yeah,
do it.
Start now.
And because
Definitely.
because it tastes good, it's inviting. You just have to get over the brain that says, and the programming, I should say, from our culture that says fats, especially saturated fats, are bad. That's a hard one to shake
Yes.
from the authorities.
Well, one thing I didn't mention, I started early on in my life. I had an eating disorder, bulimia. And so at that time I started doing all this low-fat food, because I was totally afraid of calories and fat and all this. It made the bulimia worse. I believe my health really took a dive in my late teens because of this, and I started eating less fat. So that sort of exacerbated the bulimia. So I just wanted to mention that. Yeah. Fear of fat.
Get over it.
Get over it.
Yeah, yeah. And look at the fact that our ancestors, we wouldn't be here if our ancestors didn't love the fat.
We wouldn't be here. That's what all the vegans and vegetarians don't get. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't successful.
Yes. And the longest period in evolution.
Over 2 million years. Yes.
With only this little experiment with grains being this short little snippet.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you show us how to make ghee?
I will. It's very simple.
What are you starting with?
A pound of butter.
A pound of butter.
Yeah, and that'll last you a while.
Okay.
So I'm going to just stick it on simmer on the back of the stove while we do some other recipes here. And don't leave the kitchen while you're making it because it can burn if you walk away from it.
And so what temperature are you putting it on?
Well, sort of medium, and we'll get it so it's sort of simmering, and then it'll take about 15 minutes for it to bubble, and then we'll see that it clarifies, it separates, and then we'll strain it with a strainer into the cup.
Okay. Well, how about making a recipe from your book?
Okay, great. Well, I picked out, since I used to be a caterer and I made a lot of hors d'oeuvres and did a lot of parties, I chose my very favorite dip from the book, Magical Muhammara.
Wait a minute. Magical
Muhammara.
Okay.
And the recipe is from Aleppo, Syria. It's very wonderful and spicy. The secret ingredient is pomegranate molasses, which we use a little bit of, but it really adds the secret flavor. And I call it the thinking man's hummus.
The thinking man's hummus.
Yes, it has no garbanzo beans. The base of it is walnuts, toasted walnuts.
All right.
And then we have roasted red pepper.
Now, those you
use
either make
the
your own or you
jar
buy?
can. Yeah, if you want to roast your own peppers and peel them, you can do that. But you can use the Mazzetta roasted peppers. Those work great. And what else do we have in here? We have garlic.
Beaucoup.
And, these are all my favorite flavors. I love garlic. I love cumin. I love lemon. And, I like Mexican food for that reason, too. Lime, garlic, cumin,
So that's cumin?
This is toasted cumin.
Okay.
Tiny bit of salt in there. And this has about a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. You can add more. The nice thing about this recipe is you can tweak it. If you want more cumin, more garlic, or more lemon, you can do that. I need a little bit of a knife here. And lemon juice. And then 3 or 4 tablespoons of the pomegranate molasses.
So that's a sweetener.
Yeah, but this has a particularly tang to it, which you will see. And you can get this at Whole Foods or you can order it online.
Just want to taste. Just a taste.
It is.
It feels like, totally exotic.
It is. It's very exotic. And these are kind of the flavors I like. I like ethnic foods.
Well, I saw that in looking through your book. Part of what made it exciting to me was I felt like it was a sort of a taste tour around the world, paleo style.
Yes. Yeah. You can.
There's French influence, and I see the South American and the Mexican and the
little bit of
Central
Asian.
And it's like,
yes.
well, in a sense, the traditional foods that arose out of the paleo.
Yes.
Many of them.
Yes. As you go around the world, each culture has its special foods the way they do it, but you can still stay paleo wherever you go.
What have we got here? Olive oil?
This is olive oil, so I'm just going to turn this on. This is how easy it is. And about 1/4 of a cup of olive oil.